Hello, I'm Czardus. Grab some coffee, sit back, and chill as we build in Timberborn. Today we're continuing the Timberborn Beginners Guide series. This will be part 3 of the series, and it will be the final one in what I'm doing there. But I will have more content on Timberborn. Be sure to stick around for that. But anyway, what we're going to do today is we are going to focus on getting ready for bad tides. So at some point, the water cycle starts to have bad water come out through here. And right now, it's going to come down here and come this way and kill all of our crops and trees. We don't want that to happen. Instead, we are going to actually get rid or divert it so that it can't get in here. We have 2 options for that. One, we can build a system here that would have that we could divert it and have it go out that way. That would be an easy way to do it. We do have the issue that it could still kill some of our oak trees. So ideally, what I want to do is I want to come up here and I want to divert it this way. And then it can come down this way and go all the way over here and get out that way. Eventually, what you would want to do is come in and you can research caps, a badwater dome, or a badwater rig. I prefer the badwater rig because then you can still extract bad water from it, but that can go over on to your bad water sources over here. We've got 2 of them on this map, but that still won't impact the bad tide. So either way, we're going to need to research this. And the other thing we could do is we could eventually divert it a different way, maybe even directly out this way. But that would require excavation, and we can't do that yet. So instead, like I said, we're going to get up this way. And the first thing we need to do is get a path up that hill so that we can build there. And so I think what we'll do is we'll bring this all the way this way, and then we can start to come along here and get the stairs built right over here and then up, and just make our way directly up this path. And then of course we're going to have quite a bit of a stair here, but we should be able to do that pretty easily. That is 1, 2, 3 high. And actually, if we come over just a tiny bit, we can do this a little bit less. We can just get a path like that. Oh no, that's the same line. Yep, okay. Sometimes I do see these a little bit differently, and you can hold X and it will give you a straight line on the grid so that you can use that for planning. It really is helpful, but I usually just skip that because it's not that necessary to remember all of that. We're going to come in here and mark these for deletion. That should be enough that we can come in here and get up here. Actually, let's just take a little bit more out here too. It should get us to get that far pretty quickly. I'm gonna let stuff get built, and then we'll go from there. Okay, and we have an issue that's come up. We have an injured beaver. So what we need to do for that is go to well-being, and then we want to do a medical bed. We'll go ahead and research that for 80 points, and then we can just put that in wherever it can fit. And in fact, we've got a spot right here that will work. We'll get that right there and make that a high priority so it gets built as soon as possible. And now that it is ready, the beaver that was injured went right to the medical bed and is recovering there. So that is great, and our stairs have been completed. So now we're going to slow back down, and what we want to do is bring the path over here, and we'll go ahead and queue another stairway there. But what I want to do is start planning over here, and what we want is we want a levee that will completely block the water. We're going to bring it over. Actually, we can do it right here. We can go like that, and we will come in and mark. We'll go a couple of trees in here, or like a couple of squares in, just to make sure that that water gets diverted well over that way. And eventually we might try and clear some of those trees out if we have time before any of the bad water happens. But we have to build a stairway to get down there, which will require, actually we need to come in here and mark these for deletion as well. And then we should be able to get the path to come around like this. We could just go around the bushes as well, but why would we want to do that when we can go a different path? Okay, so that is gone. We can come over here and go ahead and get the path to there. And then we have all these beavers available. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put a lumberjack flag here just because we can. Turn it around so they can go there. And then we'll go ahead and mark as many trees as we can for deletion in here. And we'll get some wood out of that. It'll be worthwhile. We've got the path over here. They're working on those levees. And in fact, I think what we'll do is I want the levees to get done before anything else. So we'll go ahead and mark these as high priority to be removed. And then we can come in and get these levees the rest of the way there. And then we'll be able to get onto this area as well. So they are almost done working on the levees, and the next thing we want to do is start figuring out how tall of a floodgate we need. And we've got a lot of research points. I'm going to go ahead and just unlock the triple. And yeah, that's going to be a little too high. Let's go with the double. So that will be about where we want it. And we're going to go ahead and just put these all the way across. Now the downside here is that we don't have a way to get into the water yet. And so what I want is we're going to preferably get these taken out as soon as those levees are done. And then we're going to build a platform here, and we'll get stairs right down into the water. And then once we have the stairs, we can get the floodgate built. Okay, so now we've got that path there. We can bring this over here. And then as soon as they get everything else done, we can go ahead and we're going to put this across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to go right here. The shortest spot possible. Let's just double check really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Go right there. And that is going to be our levee, or our floodgate there. And so this, we can put this at 0 for now, because we won't want to block any water out of here. Although eventually we could block, we'll put this at 1. We're just below 1. Yeah, at about 0.75. So it'll fill up to almost here. And eventually we could put floodgates here as well. And then we could get a little bit of water stored in here and maybe, I don't know, do something with it. But for now, that's going to build the floodgate there, and that'll work really well. All right, and we've got the next drought is approaching, but it's just a standard drought. It's not a bad tide, so I feel pretty confident that we're going to get this whole diversion thing built before the first true bad tide comes in. Now, we do have, this guy is not having any work to do right now, so we're going to go ahead and get another path out this way, and then we'll get a stairs down here. We'll go ahead and mark this as high priority so that we can get the rest of these trees cut before any bad tide eventually destroys them. And we've got our another drought here, not our first, but it is another one. These are just dams over here, so we don't have anything we have to do. The water will be contained in here for now, and we should be able to continue to pull water to drink, which I feel pretty good about our supplies here. We've got enough food and water to make it through a drought. If it's a 2-day drought, we should be fine with that. And up here, they will continue to work on all of this, which, by the way, we're going to also put in a stairwell here, just so that we can go over here and get these trees cut as well, which I believe they're already queued up. Yep. So once that stairwell gets built, which hopefully won't be until after all of the floodgates are built, we should be good to go. And look, we've got all this metal down in here too. So at some point, we might want to try to excavate that. And one of my favorite parts of this map is over here. There's a little cave where there's also an underground ruins where you can get unlimited metal as well. So those are cool parts of the map. But anyway, we'll let a little bit more time go by. Well, and unfortunately, it looks like this lumberjack can't get over here anyway. So we're going to go ahead and just delete that, and they just won't be able to, well, it won't have anything to do there. So this stairway here, we can just cancel that entirely, and it will not be a big deal. We can go ahead and take out this path here too, along with this. There we go. And our floodgate is very close to being done. We just need a builder to come out here and finish it, and then we are actually going to test out the system with the clean water, and we'll see how it works out. I believe we have one more thing to do, actually. Now that I am looking at this and remembering, we need to come over here and take out this blockage over here. So what we're going to do, yeah, otherwise the flood would fill up in there and come all the way back this way, and bad water would go everywhere. So what we're going to do is we need to get a path out this direction. And of course we've got bushes in the way. So we'll go ahead and come over here and mark a path right through there and wait for that to be done. Okay, now that is done, we can go ahead and bring this path the rest of the way. And I do want to get a stairway here, just so that we can come down. Actually, no, we're not going to put that there. We're going to put it on the other side. Because, and I wonder, let's put it over here. Because I want to try to get these resources, these trees out as well before everything is all said and done. But we'll also mark this as a demolish, just in case we, then we at least can get some bad water through here. But I don't think we can get to these other ones. I think they're going to be too far. Just in case, we'll go ahead and mark all of these as high priority. Yeah, see, now he's stranded, and that is very bad. Yeah, okay. Yep, take that out. And you just moved right over to there? Bummer. Just fall down. There you go. There we go. Okay, so now this is done, and we can come back over this way and test this out. So we're going to put this up to full height. This is going to fill up, and water is going to flow this way. And we just want to confirm that when we do that, we don't get any flooding anywhere else. Water comes through here, it flows down, and that did not work. Look, we've got flooding coming over here, which is not what we want at all. Because we need to block that, but we are still coming down. Where is it escaping? It's escaping here, so we're going to go ahead and build more levees over here. Okay, and in the meantime, we'll bring this back down to 0. So that the water does not flow there. So these are going to be pretty high priority right now. And then we can actually get them a little bit farther too. Let's go ahead all the way to there. And hopefully that will get the water a bit more controlled over this way. Now the thing is that there's a lot of water coming this way. And so we might have to build more levees to block even more off. And what we could do is we could utilize this as well. If we got some floodgates here, we would block a little bit more off. In the meantime, we're also going to go ahead and put a lumberjack over here to claim some of this. Now, we don't have a path here, so we're going to go ahead and mark that one for demolition. Actually, no, we don't have to do that. Cancel that. And we're going to put the lumberjack up here. And then we can go ahead and mark all of this as tree cutting, and all of these as well. I don't know how far that lumberjack will go. Yeah, he'll be able to get a lot of those trees out. The nice thing too is that we have stored a little bit of water temporarily in there, so that's kind of nice. But what I want to do is, once these levees are done to here, we're going to test it again, and we're just going to keep going back and forth, testing and seeing how much of the levees we need to build. But we should be in pretty good shape now, because at the very least we can get a lot of our bad water out this way. Now again, it's a little concerning that it's flooding over here. What we could do is build levees along here and build it all the way along, but hopefully we won't need to do that. Okay, we're at a point I'm going to go ahead and test this out again. So the water fills up here in our little basin, and then it starts to flow down here. And it is Still overflowing. So we've got just too much water flowing through here at once. So we're going to bring this back down. And I think it's just the sheer amount of water coming in that is a trouble. We're going to go ahead and take out that, and we'll take this path out and go ahead and take that one out to get out of the way. And then we can go ahead and get more levees here. And unfortunately, we might have to build it quite a ways along this path. And so what we might have to do is start brainstorming over here how we can get it out over in that direction. And what we could do, we can't go too much higher over here, because that's how high we built our floodgates. So this is the height that we need to be at. I think we would need to bring it over to about here, which we could do. We could easily do that. Let's go ahead and bring a path over this way so that we can get a stairway down here, and then we can get construction over in this spot. We'll go ahead and queue up some more levees along here. And then I think about here, we're going to turn, which is going to be a lot of construction over in here. But again, we've got plenty of wood going. We have time. I feel pretty confident that we'll be able to divert over this direction. We just have to get far enough over here that we'll be able to go that way. And you know, thinking about it now, we don't have to divert all the water over this way. Eventually we might want to, but for now, at the very least, what we could do is we're going to have some of it come this way. And then of course we got to get, let's see, we need a stairway down this way. I think what we'll do is temporarily, have to have one there for sure. And then we'll temporarily put one here. Bring this along like this. And then we're going to build floodgates here. And I think, no, we want the triple here, because that will bring us almost high enough. Okay, we'll put a levee here, and then we'll get a triple floodgate here. And what I want here is I want then to divert some of it over there. Not all of it, but we'll get some of it diverted over in that direction. This is going to be a kind of a complex project, but again, it's going to work out pretty well. And what we could do is we could actually, even in the good times, what we could do is we could raise some of these, and we could start getting some of the water going the other direction. And actually, we could probably get almost all of it. Let's get this to, yeah, about 1. Actually, you know what? We could put all of this at 1. There. So some will flow in both directions now. And when it's a bad tide, we'll just have to block it off. But that will keep some water flowing in both ways so that we can see how everything goes. And there you can see that this is the right amount of water flowing here. And so we just have to be careful when we are getting everything finished that we're getting the right amount done. Now they have to walk a long way around. I'm a little tempted to build a path this way, but then we will get slowed down by having built stairs. So maybe not. And unfortunately, in the process of letting the water out this way, we are flooding these trees, and they are going to die. They won't actually lose the wood, so we'll go ahead and let that keep being flooded. We're losing the sap that is there, but we're not really collecting that right now anyway. Not worried about sap just yet. In my experience, the biggest priorities in Timberborn, if you haven't noticed by now in this guide, is that you need to get water and food, first of all. Then you need to get your water management done so you can make it through droughts. Then you need to get the water diverted. And then after that, you can start we're focusing much more on well-being and just whatever the beavers want at that point. But for now, it's really, we're still in the stage of getting the water diverted, and we're getting the bad water diverted, I should say, and getting finalized on some of these details of how the entire system is going to be set up. And ready or not, our bad tide is coming. So hopefully we are going to be in okay position for this. I mean, worst case scenario, it should be a 1-day bad tide, so there won't be too much coming around. I'm not too concerned. We've got plenty of stuff. Even if we lose even all of our oak, we should be okay. I'll admit I'm a little concerned, but it should be okay. It really should. All right, here we go. We're about to hit this bad tide. You're going to see the water turn to bad water. And as soon as that happens, I'm going to raise the floodgates. Now, we've got all this bad water coming. We're going to see what happens. Oh, they didn't. Ah, no. I must have grabbed just the wrong one. Shoot. And now this still is not. There we go. Just a little bit of bad water coming through here. Hopefully it will be okay. You know, there's bad water in there. I'm not going to worry too much about it. We're actually flowing pretty well here. Look at that. We're just... there. It overflowed. All right, but yep. About half a day yet. This bad water is going to make its way this way. There's nothing we can do about that. A lot of it will flow into here, which will be good. But it might end up making its way... Actually, we should be okay. It's going to fill this in, and that's going to be bad. This stuff is drying out, but not quite dying. That should be okay. This is flooded. We're going to be fine, because we are about to get good water. Bad tide cycle has ended, and as soon as we've got good water in here, we will go ahead and lower this back down to 1. Actually, we'll start lowering it already. We'll let a little bit of the bad water flow through, just because I don't want it. Yeah, it's going to push all this water this way anyway. So now we just need all that bad water to just go away, and it will eventually. In the meantime, we're continuing to do our construction over here, and it is what it is. We're going to get these levees queued up here, and then we need to get stairs over to the other side as well. So we'll go ahead and get those in the plans. We should have a couple of tides now before getting another bad tide. But what I want to do here is we're going to go ahead and queue up more levees over on this side. And that will be the plan. So you can see how that's going to look. Once everything is built over here, we'll come back and we'll build levees all the way up to block it over on this side too. Okay, now we've got a beaver that is unwell. And when that happens, they will get contaminated and get sick. We do need to address that. And that will not be a medical bed. That is going to need to be a different thing. This one, herbalist. Create antidote. So we're going to go ahead and get this unlocked. And we're going to put that over here. We'll put them there. And then they are going to need a field. And what they need for the antidote is none of those things. I believe it's dandelion that they need. So we'll go ahead and queue this up. And hopefully these farmers will do it. But I think, if I remember right, it's dandelion. And it's hard to tell looking at these things. It needs one... it's hard to see exactly what they need. They might need paper too, actually. Which paper is going to be a much harder thing. Yeah, they are definitely going to need paper. So we're going to have to queue up paper as well. And paper needs to take wood and power. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and start to get more power going in here. We'll get another water wheel over in here. It'll automatically be set up and connected to that one. And then we'll put the paper mill. I'm going to unlock that as well. I'm wondering where we want to put it. I think we're going to want to put it over here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and put it here. So that's going to be a paper mill over here. And then we're going to get 2 more water wheels here. And then we will get a power shaft here and connect everything all together. So for now, we'll set this water wheel as high priority and this paper mill as high priority. And then we're going to need some storage over here as well. So we want put a small pile of logs right out front here. Go ahead and set that to logs. And we want them to obtain them, and eventually we can set that as a priority. So the haulers will keep that full. And then we'll get a medium warehouse to store the paper in. And I want to put that over here. So this will be for paper. And none of that is high priority stuff. The paper mill will be, and the water wheel is a high priority. So they'll get built probably before our levees and stuff like that. But that should be good because then we can get the herbalist built. And I think we need to set this off of priority so that they come over and plant those. Although, no, you know what? Because it's a crop, it has to be a forester. So we need to come in here, and it's technically a bush. We'll go ahead and put a forester over here. And we'll go ahead and say, do more dandelion, like that. And over here are trees that were out here died due to the bad waters. So we're just going to go ahead and get rid of all of that. These all died from the bad water as well. Actually, I think they might have been dead already. But for the most part, I think things are going along pretty well here. We're about to get our paper mill built. It won't have enough power to actually work yet. And in fact, it needs 80. So once the water wheel gets built for this side, it should be fine. So we're getting pretty close to this all being working to get the paper going. And I just wanted to mention that one thing about Timberborn, as you've seen in this guide, is that sometimes things don't go the way you plan, and that's just the fun of the game. And of course, you have to keep yourself on your feet and keep moving and just continuing to get your plans going and stuff like that. We're now generating the paper here, which will be good. That will come over here to the herbalist, and now we've got the forester to go ahead and start growing the dandelions. And sorry about the dog barking there. But anyway, so we should get the herbalist everything going. This will take 3 days to get the dandelions to grow, which is unfortunate. 3 days to get them to grow to this stage. And then it looks like another 3 days to go the rest of the way. And we need a gatherer flag here as well. Yeah. Days to grow, and then it takes time for them to mature into flowers. So we're going to go ahead and get a bigger field of them here, I think. Go ahead and just go like that. That'll get more out here, and then we can go ahead and get a gatherer flag here as well. And we'll put that over here. I mean, we've got one here. I guess that reaches. We don't need this one. I do want to get a little bit of water over here, though, I think. Just a little bit closer to some of the other stuff. And our water supply has been going down at night, which is not quite what we want to see, but it isn't too bad. We'll get a small tank here. And also, I think we're not generating gear. Oh, we are generating gears. No, those are planks. These are gears. Okay, we are doing gears. We've got 112. Let's go ahead and get a medium tank unlocked. And then we can get a nice big water tank, let's say over this way, right about here. And we'll go ahead and set that to water, and we'll come over here and make sure this one is set to water too. And that should get things going pretty smoothly. Now, we've got that one beaver who is contaminated. Contamination means that they will not work and they will move very slowly. They're just gonna kind of hang out until we get get things built or get a solution for them. The rest of this power production is on hold for now until we get the other stuff completed. Let's go ahead and get this construction a higher priority, because once this storage is done, then the paper will keep going. Right now, it's just we're full on storage of paper, and so everything is on hold there. And then yeah, we're getting more stuff built over here as well. Speaking of storage, we should probably get a bit of storage built over here for a couple of things. One, we should get dandelion storage, and then we should also get antidote storage. So the antidote, I believe, has to be stored in a water tank. No. Yep, it does right there. So we'll go ahead and we'll get a water tank over in here, and we can just do a small tank for that. Let's put that here. We've got a little bit of space here for things like that. Go ahead and set that to the antidote. And then over here, we can get a storage. Go ahead and put a warehouse on the second floor here. And then we can put dandelions here, which will be one of these. This one here, dandelions. And of course, we'll need to get a little bit of pathing up here. Here we go. So that should get all of that queued up. And once everything is done, that will get done. So over here first, though, we get it. I think all of this is the next priority at this point. And I think we will build the path out this way because at some point we're going to want to have a bit of like pathing over this way anyway. So for now, we'll just go like this, and these stairs can get built, and we can get a platform here to get around there. So this can be a high priority, and then this one, and this one. So those will get built, and then we should have a bit faster construction on the rest of that. And lo and behold, we have dandelions. So that is exciting. We're seeing the herbalist is making an antidote, and this beaver should get a solution pretty quickly. Yeah, contaminated by bad water, but hopefully that antidote will help them very soon. And we'll see how that goes. But the antidote is right now being stored just by the herbalist. I'm not in any hurry to get the storage for that any sooner, because I think it will just be fine the way it is. Being stored here, they should be able to get that. And in fact, they have. That antidote has gone out and hopefully is helping. So one thing I've done over here is I just set this levee and this levee to be a really low priority, because otherwise these levees are going to get built and then no water is going to make it through here until it overflows and spills over this way, which wouldn't be terrible, but it would end up flooding a little bit of our stuff. And so instead, I would rather have them focus on getting the rest of this built so that we can then have them build over here. Actually, they're going to have to, it's going to have to flood for a little bit before anything else. So it'll be fine. And we'll get through that. But for now, I want them to get all of these levees built for before we move on. And an update on this beaver, the contamination has been going down slowly. The poor beaver has to walk like all the way over to get the antidote every day, and so it also gets exhausted. But it is good there. It goes walking all the way. It has to go extra slow too. I mean, movement speed is reduced by 70% when it is doing that. It's making its way over here. You can see everybody's going much faster. It's going to refill on the antidote, and now it is all better. So that is good to see. And this is continuing. And I was just thinking, we are due for a bad tide, and here it comes in 3 days. So all of this is a bit of a worrisome situation at this point. It's not terrible, and we could go upstairs elsewhere, but I think this, like the way we have it set up, should help. We might get a little more bad tide coming in here. And you know what? While we're at it, what I might do is over in here, we might pull that bad water pump, or like use the bad water pump in here for now. And one thing you can do, by the way, is hit the F button, and it will flip the direction of a building. And so now we can put this bad water pump here, and eventually we're going to pump all this out and end up getting rid of this. But and we need metal blocks for that, which is another thing to start to collect, I should say. And we'll just move this, we'll put this here. This will be the storage of our metal blocks, which we can get from here. Oh, that's scrap metal. we want to put scrap metal there. We're going to have to do other work on it, but for now, we'll go ahead and put that there, and then we'll get a scavenger flag out here, and that will scavenge all of that scrap metal and get it in storage. And then in a little bit, we'll have to work to make that into other stuff with a forge, or what is it called? It is called the smelter, which we will need more electricity for. And that is the project that will come as soon as this is all complete. But again, this has to be done first, and it is not going to be done before the bad tide. So we're going to have another bad tide flowing out this way, which once again, I'm not too concerned about because it'll just fill this up, and then we can eventually collect that bad tide. And it might kill a little bit of stuff over here, but it should be fine. Everything is in good shape. All right, and here comes bad tide. We're going to make sure, actually, I'm going to pause and just double check that all of this is set to synchronize now. Very good. And we can just go ahead and... there's the start of the bad tide. We'll go ahead and block off this side and see what happens with the water. So this is going to fill up. Yep, it's going to flood over here a little bit. We're blocking as much as we can over on this side, but it is flowing through. It seems a little bit worse than before, actually, but a lot of it is flowing over here. It's going to fill this area up. Again, it's only a 1-day bad tide, so we should be okay. This seems to be about as far as it will go over here. And this is going to work pretty well, getting the diversion out this way, I think. There comes a little bit more making its way. And this time, though, we do have the antidote. So these beavers will go ahead and get the antidote as soon as they need it. This is filling up. Lots of bad tide coming through here. It is not pretty. But yeah, it is what it is, and we are getting the diversion pretty close. We're going to be done soon, and now we are on good water. As soon as it comes through here, go ahead and start letting that through. There's a little bit of bad tide in there, but it'll be okay. I'm going to let all of it come this way for a moment, just so that we have plenty of space that the rest of this can filter out. Okay, and now we can start to put this back to about 1, and that'll fill this up, and then it'll go in both directions again. And then they can finish their construction over here before the next bad tide, and that should be our last situation here. And then all of this will be collected, and in fact, while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and build a medium tank. See, where else do we have actual bad tide? It is over here. So I want to put the tank somewhere that it will be relatively close to the other stuff. We're going to put it over this way, I guess, because one thing we'll want to use that for is explosives, although that is going to need power, so it'll probably be somewhere closer to... You know what? We'll just go ahead and put it over here. So then what you'll want to do is put this to badwater, and then that will, of course, get stored in that location eventually. One thing I'm going to do is add a builder's hut. So in district management, you can come down here and unlock builder's hut, and then you can create or build one of these, and it will just hire more builders. And we're going to put this at high priority, and that will be able to put 4 more beavers on building, which should be good. We just need logs and planks to build that, so that should go pretty quickly, and then we'll get more working on this, and hopefully again make a little bit faster progress on some of our stuff. Okay, and the builder's hut is done. Now the next thing I want to do is come over here, and we're actually going to build a bridge over here, because I think it will make sense to do that so that we can get the levee built there a little bit sooner. So I want to come in here, and we're going to put this here, and then we'll just go ahead and build platforms right across here. It's going to have to be a double platform though. So we'll go like that, and then we can go ahead and just have, that's actually where we want to come back down. That there, and then this can come in here, and we just need to mark all of this as high priority though, because the levees will be otherwise they would be prioritized on that. So then once we have the path there, we can bring a path over this way. We're going to mark this deletion, and then we'll get another stair here, and then this path can come the rest of the way here. So once all of that is built, then we'll be able to start coming over here. And in fact, that is the one last stair that we need to get set for that. And then, of course, have a path there as well. Okay, so our alternate path is built. So we're going to come in here and actually take all of this out now. And we can just come in here and demolish buildings like this. Yes, yes, and yes. There we go. So that is out. And then we can come over here and we can get our levee built up here. And that will be the final piece in the puzzle. So like we are getting really close here. And in fact, I'm going to mark these levees as a higher priority at this point because I want some of this to be in here. And in fact, one thing you can do is you can go to assign priorities here, and we just want to go ahead and mark all of that as a high priority. So that will all get built, and then, but you know what? We don't have a path down to build these now. That's the downside to this plan, and we'll have to get a new stairwell now that I took out the old one. We actually want to keep this here. And all of that should be a high priority. There we go. And then this can be high priority as well. And then the rest of that will be done very shortly. And also, now that that levee is done, I'm going to add one more here. We're going to take that path out, and we're going to add one more levee here. And then we're going to set this to 0 height. So this levee should be high priority as well, but that will allow us to let water flow through here. And in fact, actually, we don't want it here. We want this, it can be up a little bit higher. Put it at about 0.8. So some water will continue to flow through here because we do want good water here as much as we can. That will be good to have there. And our floodgates are done. So now this is going to fill up a little bit more in there. And one thing that I got thinking about is that we should put floodgates over here because we want it to fill up in here. And we want to just have a little bit of control over in this way. And we can have a reservoir in here as well while we're at it. You know, like we might as well utilize this for its full potential. And so what I want to do is actually come in here and we'll get one more stairwell here. Yes. And then up at the top, we're going to remove all of those. And then eventually we'll get the levees there. That's a much lower priority because we do want to get some of our other construction completed, especially like this. We'll keep the badwater pump there, or the plan to keep that there for a while, although this is going to empty out, and let's go ahead and cancel that. And then we can build to start to actually draw the badwater probably over. It'd be a good spot, and we could get that started pretty quickly. Let's take this badwater pump out. Not the tank, or not the pump, the tank. That's what I'm trying to say there. And we're going to bring the path over this way, and we'll go ahead and get a stairwell here. Gonna get that queued up, and then over here we can get the badwater pump right there. And we can just go ahead and put a storage tank right here as well. Put that for badwater. And so eventually over here we will be drawing our badwater out and stuff like that. But let's finish this up. All right, and first of all, we've got a drought going on, which isn't a big deal. And second of all, our main project here is complete. So you can see that is all working. What we want to do now is we're expanding the project scope a tiny bit there, but we also now are freeing up the beavers to work on other stuff as well. And it should, I think, probably finish. Yep, they're working on this water wheel. We're going to get a lot more power going the next time the water is flowing, which will be really good to see. This one will get done very shortly. because we've got a lot of logs and they don't have to go very far. Yep, and now this one will get done. And then they might have a little bit of trouble getting to these spots. I think they can, but we'll see. They're going to finish that water wheel and hopefully they can get to this site. They should be able to. Yep, that's not a problem at all. So all of this will then be connected into one giant power supply. And a few things we could do with that. One, we could come in and we can research power and get the vertical power shaft. And then we could raise the power up and bring it out to somewhere else. And that's probably what we would end up doing eventually if we kept playing this series. But we'll see about that. I might do some log plays of this. We'll see. But I want to see all of this turn out. So one thing I want to do right now is I want to test this before the water starts flowing again anyway. So the idea would be that we raise both of these up as high as they go and force all of the water to go off the map that way. And it should work without any trouble. Yep, that is going that way and off the map. And just make sure that nothing overflows, because we definitely have more flowing here, and you can see it's filling up a little bit faster there, but it should have plenty of space here to flow out that way. And that will ensure that when we have bad tide, everything will flow fine. That is good. Okay, so this can come down to 1, and then this will come down to, let's say 2, I believe. Actually a little bit lower, so that it flows this way instead of elsewhere. They are working now on the stairs here, which is good to see, because then they'll take that out and we can queue up the levees there. They must have finished all of this construction, and they're working on the stairs here too, so we should start to extract the bad water pretty soon. But yeah, we need the metal blobs for that. So for metal blobs, we'll come in here and we want to get the smelter going. And like I said, I guess we'll go ahead and we'll bring the smelter over here, which feels kind of silly because it's so far from the power. But what we're going to do is go ahead and get a vertical power shaft over here. And we'll bring a regular power shaft a little bit farther there. Actually, we don't need this here yet. Cancel that one. And we'll just bring this a little bit. We'll put a platform here. And then we can get the power shaft over this way. And I want it, actually bring it all the way this way, because I think we can just build all of that without expanding anywhere. And then we'll just bring it over here. And we can just bring a regular power shaft all the way down to here. And then we'll get a vertical one there. Nope, not there. Had an autosave in there that kind of messed things up a little bit. And then we'll get the regular power shaft over this way. Now these we will, yeah, that's too far from builders. These are too far from builders, so we'll just build a path out this way. Like that, they'll get all of that built pretty quickly. And then over here, we need to get a path this way as well. We'll go ahead and mark all of this for deletion and get a path like that. And in the meantime, over here has cleared out, so we can go ahead and get these levees built here, which will just allow us to then have over on this side, we can put a double floodgate, so we can fully control the water over here. We want to completely block it off, because what I'm trying to do is store as much water in here as possible. So that will be one giant reservoir, and then we can start to put some water pumps here and start to pull that water out as well. That will be the plan. We're going to bring the path right along, go like that. I'm just trying to get a little bit, oh, there we go. We want to get no, I didn't mean to build the stair there, or the path there. We want a stair here. And what we're going to do over here is we'll go up here so that we can get a path underneath here. So that can go like that, and then we can put a path where, like, a platform here, 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 and this needs to. So in the meantime, our smelter is done, And we are collecting the scrap metal up here, which is good. But we, of course, we need a path for the smelter, first of all. And what I want to do is I want to start getting some more storage here. We're going to get, let's see, that's probably going to be bulky. Let's double check that. Yeah. So we want to get a large storage here and set that to metal. Metal blocks will get stored there because they will be produced here. We just need to get the power over there. And we're in the process of getting that done. We need a lot more planks. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up another, not gear workshop, another lumber mill here. We'll go ahead and put that, actually, we'll put it here. And then we can get a path over this way. Yeah. And of course, that won't be operational until we're done with all of this stuff, but that should be pretty soon. As soon as we get this done, I can queue up the rest of the and also we want to get a path. And actually, the path over on this side, we're going to take this back out because we're going to need to get a vertical power shaft here, and this is where this ETS is going to come in really handy here. We want it over here, so we'll put that right here, and then we can get a power shaft there, and we'll get that up and over the path, and then we need to get another vertical one on this side. Then this can come all the way across there, and as soon as we can, we'll get that built. This can come through like that. So one more thing I want to queue up while we're at it is I want to come into power, and we're actually going to unlock a gravity battery, which will allow us to store a little bit of power. It doesn't store a lot, but we'll go ahead and put that here because it will work. It will come down here and it'll store a little bit of power there. And in fact, what we could do to make this a little bit more worthwhile is go ahead and queue up more resources for demolition here. Take all of that out, and soon they will go ahead and do all of that, and that will allow us, this is going to require metal blocks anyway, but we can build some platforms and we can get a few batteries there. It will not store a ton here because it's not super high, but it will store some power so that when we're in a drought cycle, we may have a little bit to keep us going, and that will be really... Of course, as I've been doing all of this, we are running out of beavers, so we do need to get more beavers going, and I think we could build more housing over here, which I think will make sense. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and unlock the triple lodge at this point, which it still requires the platforms and stuff like that, so we'll go ahead and just put this here. We'll get 2 of these set up. Actually, we'll go ahead and get 4 of them here, but they will require platforms, like I said. So we'll go ahead and put this all the way around, very similar to what we've done elsewhere, but then we'll get a stairwell over, and of course, all of this is going to need a lot of planks, which we are in short supply of right now anyway, so we're not going to get any beavers here anytime soon, but we are doing what we can. So they're done clearing this out. So what I want to do then again is I want to come in with a double platform here so that I can get the last power shaft in place there, and that will connect all of that. And then I want to come in with the double platform here as well. Oh yeah, it should still work. We got a drought coming in. It shouldn't be too bad. Go ahead and do that, and then we'll just come in here and we'll queue this up for 2. Once we have the metal, we'll get 3 batteries side by side right there, and that'll be pretty good. One gap in here, I just noticed we've got 1 gear or power shaft that is not connected, and it's really a bummer, but we can just go ahead and fix that with a stair there, and of course it'll take a moment for them to get to all of that, but it will be operational once everything else is done. Now we got all of the planks that we needed to get really a lot of this done, although we need a little bit more vertical shaft there. but I'm excited to very soon see significant progress here. Right now, what are they working on? They're coming over here and they're taking it out. Now they're finishing this project. Okay, now this reservoir is all done. So we can go ahead and bring this up to almost 2. Well, where does it need to be? I think it needs to be just below 2. Let's see. So that's going to go up and overflow there. No, we can keep going. Go up to 2.8. So that's going to fill up quite a bit of water in here. And actually this side then can go up quite a bit higher as well. That can go up to 1.8. We can store a lot of water in here. Now, the downside is that when it comes to be bad tide time, it's all going to get contaminated. So that will be the downside to the reservoir there, but it should come in handy during droughts. If we really need to, we can open the floodgates and keep the power going. And in the meantime, we are getting more of our power distributed here, which is really good to see too. And our power is done. So now this lumber mill is now working and our smelter is working as well. The power is getting all the way over there, and you can see we have plenty of supply as well that we can expand as needed. We will get the metal blocks built, and we'll see the gravity battery really quick here as well. All right, so our gravity battery is done, and it can store about 8,000 power. So 3 of them together should store about 24,000 power, which will be really good for this size of a settlement. And that will conclude the beginner's guide setup that I have done. I think you should know everything you need to know to get moving in this game, get a few playthroughs through, get yourself really established in understanding how the game works. If you have any other questions that you want to see videos on, leave a comment below and I'll see if I can fit them in. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this series. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. Take care.